Welcome to the Real Estate Investing Podcast, where we help you unlock your potential freedom through land investing, real estate investing, and entrepreneurship. Hey everyone, this is episode 131 of the Real Estate Investing Podcast, discussing building a $1 million land business. I'm your host, Daniel Apke, joined again by my brother and business partner, Ron Apke. Before we get into the show, let's go over a question from one of our featured Discord members. Today's question is from Justin. Justin asked, I have a property under contract, got title back, and it says there's an open mortgage against the property for over $100,000. The mortgage is 40 plus years old with no terms attached. Title will not insure it. What is going through my mind is that this is a huge risk. What if the company that has the mortgage against the property comes back for it? On the other hand, the mortgage is old and maybe nothing comes back from it. Title says they would want it either to be satisfied or waived off.
Yeah, I talked to Justin about this in particular, and I think that's a good question, Dan, for this. It's a more advanced question, I'd say.
Definitely more advanced.
But so this is a $60,000 purchase Justin's offering, and there's a $100,000 mortgage on the land. You cannot buy this without title insurance. Like, there is no way you can buy this without getting that mortgage taken care of or figuring out more information. I suggested for Justin to go talk to the seller, see what's going on in terms of that. But like, you cannot buy a $60,000 property. You're not going to get funding with it without title insurance. Your end buyer is going to want insurance, and that mortgage is going to pop up when your end buyer is trying to get title insurance.
Yeah, that's just too much risk than that I'm willing to take. Like, if that does come back and something happens, you're like, that's just too much.
60,000 out.
Yeah, you're 60,000 out. Yeah, really, really good question. Really interesting scenario too. I've actually never seen this in our own business or really in.
Yeah, I wonder how, like, it's just interest accruing. Like, it couldn't have been $100,000. I don't know. I don't know. I'm kind of perplexed at this situation.
Yeah, really interesting. Cool. Well, other than that, guys, let's get into the show. Today's topic, building a $1 million land business. Ron, why did we choose this topic?
Because I think, I don't know, everyone used to talk about like six figures, like making six figures, all this stuff. And
boo.
I just don't think that's like the reality of what we need to be talking about right now. Like, let's go a little bigger, whether it's $500,000, $1 million. Like, I don't know. That's the thing. The potential is there. Anyone can do this. That's kind of the purpose of this, I think.
Yeah, well, $100,000 now is like $50,000 3 years ago with everything, with the cost.
Like a year ago, 12 months ago.
Yeah. I mean, down here, I just saw in Tampa around $2,000 the average rent now. So it's just like, I don't know how people afford that are working normal 9-to-5 jobs, a lot of them.
I saw, what was it? I saw a dozen eggs is worth more than a pound of beef now.
That's why we got chickens out background. Cool. Well, Ron, let's like we said, the reality of it, this is possible. And I think that's one of the biggest hurdles of people getting in this business is understanding that this is possible, actually getting over that fear, understanding that you can do it. And I heard Hormozy, Ron, talk about this. He's like, if you surround yourself with flesh, with people who are making much more money than you, you're going to realize they're just normal people. They're just humans sitting in flesh just like you are.
Yeah.
And the more you realize that, the more you realize it's possible that you can do it, that you can do anything. And I think that mindset, Ron, the wrapping your head around that you can do it is one of the biggest things here.
It's such like minimal mindset shifts that makes such a big difference. And I talk about it a lot with our mentor coach who kind of helps us with our things. And it's just like little adjustments that make a difference of $500,000, $1 million a year, like just significant amount of money. But like Daniel said, surrounding yourself with people in this community, people who are making $1 million in land, people who are making $5 million in land, like, it makes it sound so much more possible. They're doing the same thing. They're just running a business. What kind of difference do you see in them, Dan? Because it's not a huge difference from the people who are making like 100,000 and happy versus people who are making $1 million and dissatisfied. Like, they want that 2 million.
What was the question exactly?
Like, what's the difference you see in people making $200,000 in land versus the people making $1 million? From a mindset perspective.
From a mindset perspective. Well, I feel like if you're, I'd be shocked if there's a lot of people out there that are making $200,000 that are actually stuck in their 100% invested in education. I feel like the people stuck there are working hard and they think they're working really hard, but they're working in the wrong ways, Ron. Like, they're actually going in, answering all the sales calls, or going and doing it. They're not outsourcing. It comes down to that fear around, like, you got to invest in yourself. You got to invest in education. You got to continue to grow. There's no reason someone should be stuck at making $200,000 a year as an entrepreneur. Like, there are so many ways to grow. And another thing, Ron, I broke it down kind of like there are different vehicles, right? There are lower opportunity vehicles, things that are harder to scale, like level 2 vehicle out of 10, right? Things that are just hard to scale, very hard to do. Gravity's against you. You got to fight really hard to get little results. That could be one. But then if you get in a level 10 vehicle run, like what we saw in land flipping, I feel like I kind of came from a level 2, level 3, level 4 business. That was very hard competition, just operationally very heavy. And then we came into land business. I think that's why we built a 7-8 figure land business very quick, is because it was a 9-10 opportunity versus like a 2 or 3. So I feel like between the vehicle and then the education and just finding ways to move forward, that's a big part of it.
Yeah. I think the complacency of someone making $200,000 is a big reason why you should not, if you hit land 2022, you did 200 grand, you should do 500-700. Like, you cannot be okay. Like, I'm just going to repeat this if you actually want to grow. And I think like the complacency, and then you see, like we said, surrounding yourself with those people making more money, like they make it and talk about 200 grand like it's nothing. Which it's not nothing by any means, but the complacency is what I kind of see from a mindset perspective. Like, I'm happy with this. It's all I need. It's all my family needs.
Yeah, and it's
an excuse not to grow.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have too much more to add to that, Ron. That's a really good point. But next round, let's get into, so you talk about $1 million of profit. And for some businesses, for $1 million of profit, you need a lot of operations. Like, it's going to be very, very operationally heavy if you're in distribution, trucks, people, delivery people, warehouse people, all that stuff. But in land flipping, what are we looking like?
I mean, for $1 million, like, systems, processes, they're all important. Like, being efficient with what you're doing, you can do $1 million of profit. And we've said this before, you can do $1 million of profit in this business by yourself, you and only you. It is really possible. I don't think it's 100% necessary, but if it is only you, like, the systems behind it, understanding how to send mail, when to send mail, how much mail to send is going to be very important. And then how are you managing the sales calls? So how are you managing it with a phone system, with an answering service? If you're outsourcing, if you're not in-house on anything, is what I'm kind of saying. If you're outsourcing a lot of things, but it's still just you.
Yeah. So how many people you think you can get?
I can think you can do it by yourself. But to grow past that, it's going to get really difficult and really tough without having in-house people. And that's where you should get into hiring transaction coordinators, salespeople. And that's how you take that $1 million to $5 million. And once you get to that million, it's about surrounding yourself around with those people making $5 million. And then, like, always kind of seeing that there's a next step, because there always is a next level.
Yeah. And it comes down to that 2 versus 10, Ron. Like, can you think of any other businesses you can make $1 million in off the top of your head? I can, but just yourself, like, that's hard to do in
It's
a lot
difficult.
of businesses.
No, I mean, it
comes down to that 2 versus 10 opportunity that I was discussing.
This is a 10 opportunity, guys. Like, it really, really is a 10 opportunity in land. So that's the Daniel talking about that is, there are businesses like you get in, I don't know exactly what, but Daniel was in drop shipping before. If he talks about that as being a 3 or 4 opportunity business, land is a 10 opportunity business. It is so new and so green right now.
Plus the ability to make $1 million off the sustainability with not much operations like we're talking about. Like, you don't need to hire.
There's not much.
It's like for, I'm trying to think, like, okay, so for distribution, I had an electric bike company. So for my electric bike company, for every $100,000 more of sales I did a month, I needed 1 or 2 more customer service people. I knew that. So I needed to hire, I needed to have that in my plan and my growth. You don't really need that here as much. You get to that level. And then, like, if you have like I said, a warehouse or shipping, and you got the more product you're selling, it's a double-edged sword. The more product you need to ship out, the more product, the more customer service, the more returns, things like that. So it's a double-edged sword in a way. It's not really like that with land.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. It's being able to do that by yourself. Getting back to that, it's like, it's not, you can't do that anywhere else. Like, I haven't been in any other businesses like that. And then once you start growing, like, imagine that, like, you're doing $1 million yourself. All right, now you add people and you can scale everything. There's no reason you can't do 2, 3, 4.
Oh yeah, it's that mindset, Ron. If you want to do 2, 3, 4, invest in the processes, invest in the systems. The thing is, Ron, a lot of people get into this business and treat it like a mom and pop, which I love, because you can make a lot of money doing it and you can do it on the side. But people forget this is a business, and you can invest in employees, and you can invest in systems, and you can invest in long-term sustainability vehicles, Ron. like employees and all of that. And I feel like people, like when you want to get it to that next level, Ron, you have to look at it like a business rather than just buying and selling land. Like, how am I going to cater to my employees? How am I going to build systems? How are my employees going to like to work here? That long-term growth, who's going to take my spot, analyzing the deals, like thinking of things like that to start. What are my core values? What's our mission? Where are we actually trying to go? Where's this vehicle trying to go? What's our goal? What are our, all that type of stuff, Ron?
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And I think once you get past that level, it's like, you need to surround yourself with people, education, community, all that stuff. But then you're kind of putting your own spin on things where you're doing something that no one really else in this industry is doing, whether it's a market you're targeting, you have a little niche that you ran into. And that's where we talk about like really scaling. Like when you're doing something no one else is doing in an area, that's when you can scale. You can have a monopoly on the whole industry, the whole area, and whatever you're doing. So,
but the biggest part of that is to understand land first, and then that kind of comes.
Yeah, we're talking past $1 million. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I guess moving past that, Dan, the big thing that we acquire with is mail.
Yep.
So I think kind of talking, how much mail do you actually need to send? And I think anyone, right now it's February, 16th, 2023. In the next 12 months, to make $1 million, how much mail do you need to send? Even if you just got started last week, even if you're getting started next week, like how much mail do you need to send in a year to make $1 million? I think that's a question we need to answer.
Yeah. And I mean, you're the mail guy. You send out the mail, so you know this answer better than me. But let's do some math then, because we know the facts are we acquire property every 2,200 pieces of mail we send out. That's a fact. Mm-hmm. That's from 1 million sample size, right? That's another thing not to do early, is analyzing these results too early. But Ron and I have hundreds of thousands of mailers out there that we can analyze. But we know for a fact that every 2,200, 2,300 mailers we send out, we're going to get a deal back. The other fact we know that we can do math with, Ron, is for every deal we get, we're going to profit about $25,000 now. It's looking like the way things are trending, and it's going up. So let's reverse from there.
Yeah, and this is 25. If you're making 20,000, let's just say $20,000 a deal. That's 50 deals a year. Daniel's saying 2,300 mailers. To make it really simple on you guys, like multiply that 50 deals times 23,000 or 2,300 mailers, which gives you whatever, 100.
A little over 100,000.
Yeah, a little over. I'm not going to try to do the math through
He used to be good at math.
115. It's 115. Spot on, Blake. You can do the math. 115,000 mailers to get $1 million of profit, to get 50 deals in a year.
Wait, how much?
115.
So about 10,000 a month.
10,000 a month, 12,000 a month. Yeah, I think it's 10 to 12,000 a month. Like I really do. I think that's a little on the higher end, is 12. Sounds crazy, Dan. Like it really does. Like the cost of doing 12,000 mailers a month might be $8,000 after everything. So it sounds insane that you can make $1 million on that, but I really think that's what the numbers are.
Yeah, and then you can make our 2,200 mail ratio to get a deal look like crap too if you focus on sales and focus on your systems and processes. You might be able to get that down to 1,500. If it's smaller deals, maybe it's going to be every 1,000. There are people targeting desert squares out there, getting them every 400. Like they try to sell that, we get a land deal every 400 mailers we send out. It's like, great, what's your average? Like, we buy for $2,000. That's not our business model. We're buying for 40,000, selling for 90. We're buying for 100, selling for 210. That's our business model, Ron.
And the reality is, I think I broke this down last week on a podcast. Let's say 2,500 mailers cost $1,700 or so to mail that. You have a few $100s in whatever drone costs, all this stuff. You're going to be all in about $2,000, $2,200 per deal. If you're making the way we do things, the type of land we're targeting, if you're making $18,000 on that or $20,000, then you're profiting $18,000. Like the numbers are crazy.
Yeah.
It's $2,000. You're going to make $20,000.
Exactly.
So you need to scale up to that. You need to be sending, if you want to make $1 million, 10 to 12,000 mailers minimum per month.
And we get on average for every 60-cent letter we send out, we get an average of profit, $6.50 gross profit back.
Yeah. It's about 10X.
It's about 10X of profit, not sales. People say 10X your sales. That's great. We're 10Xing profit here.
Exactly.
Which is just crazy to think about.
And it's just
and people ask around why we're not texting and cold calling more.
Yeah. We're testing things, guys. Like we always say, we're testing cold calling, we're testing texting, all this stuff, but you can't argue with those numbers. Like if I want to make $20,000 more next month, should I test cold calling and have my salesperson cold calling for 30 hours a week? Or should I just send an extra 5,000 mailers? It's a lot easier for me or our data analyst to price 5,000 mailers than make 100, 200, 300, 500 phone calls.
Go back to the opportunity, Ron. We don't want to bring that 10 opportunity down to a 5. If we want to bring that down to a 5 or 6, let's hire a bunch of inside salespeople and start cold calling. And that stuff's great, guys. I really do believe in cold calling and texting in alternative ways. We are doing it. We're eventually going to have a program out teaching that stuff as well for people with less upfront capital, because spending 60 cents a mailer, you do that 5,000, do the math, $3,000 a month. It's expensive. It's extremely effective, but yes, it's expensive. So to mitigate some of that fear you guys have, we're going to be coming out with a program soon to teach you, hey, this is how you text, this is how you cold call. We're not going to say it's as efficient. We're not going to say it's as effective, but you can still get some deals. It's just going to be more of a grind, Ron.
Exactly. No, I think it's going to, we want land to reach more of you guys, and we understand the capital investment that is needed to get started in land when it's only direct mail and stuff like that. So we want to put something together where, I don't know, $500, $1,000 you have to your name, you can turn that into $50,000 this year alongside working your 9 to 5.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have too much to add, Ron.
No, I don't either. I think it's realistic, guys. That's the main thing we wanted to kind of focus on with this. Like, this is a realistic number. If you don't think this is realistic, surround yourself with people making more money. Look at your inner circle, kind of surround yourself with people. There are people in your city, it doesn't matter what city you are in the country, doing real estate and making $1 million a year. Surround yourself with more people like that. It's going to make it sound like so much less. And then, like you said, the person who mentors us, he has a 8-figure business. And he's growing fast. Like, he's doubling that every single year. And just surrounding yourself with people like that, making a ton of money changes your mindset, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you'll realize it's very possible, and it's not that it's hard. It's a lot of work, but it's so reachable. That's the biggest thing, Ron. Just take baby bites out of it.
Exactly.
You don't need to move forward quantum leaps. That's not going to happen. Take a few baby bites. Look back in 6 months.
Baby bites, where you get that? Baby steps. Daniel's always coming up with some weird terms. I've always said baby steps, but I guess baby bites.
Take some baby steps, baby bites. I'm just thinking of something like, all right, the goal is really big. We're just starting to bite away and just eat.
Chip away at it.
Chip away. Yep, exactly. So, I mean, do that consistently. 6 months, you'll be like, wow, I'm a whole nother person after 6 months. Do that for, 6 years and for a few years, Ron, staying consistent, just chunk by chunk, that stuff adds up. It's not about the time. It's not about the hours necessarily. It's about the consistency and putting your time and energy into the right aspects.
I like that. Yeah, I don't have anything else.
Awesome, guys. Well, thank you for joining. If you guys have not, please leave us a review on Apple Podcast. It really helps our business grow, and we really, really appreciate it. But other than that, guys, thank you for joining, and we'll see you next episode.
Thanks, guys.